Good afternoon, everyone. I guess we stopped at mesosphere. Audible है? We stopped at mesosphere. वो डायग्राम समझ में आया या उसमें डाउट्स है? What is this? This is a graph of height and temperature. So 0 kilometers, उसके बाद 20 kilometers, उसके बाद 40 kilometers, 60 kilometers, 80 kilometers, 90, 100, उसके बाद डॉट्स क्योंकि 400 तक, क्योंकि यू कैन नॉट शो 400 किलोमीटर्स हियर, 80 के बाद 100, 100 के बाद 120, इसलिए वी मेक डॉट्स एंड देन इट इज 400 प्लस. सो इफ वी कंसिडर द लोअर 16 किलोमीटर्स, और ये ग्राफ में 0 डिग्री सेल्सियस, -20 डिग्री सेल्सियस, -60 डिग्री सेल्सियस, -40, -60, -80, -100, etc. So temperature in degree Celsius and height or altitude in kilometers. Fine with this? And what happens in this is in the troposphere, lower troposphere, as we go up, the troposphere, the lowermost layer, as we go up the temperature goes on decreasing और वो बन जाता है around somewhere around -60 degree Celsius at the end of a troposphere, जिसको हम कहते हैं tropopause. What is the importance of troposphere? All the atmospheric phenomena occur in the troposphere. माउंट एवरेस्ट ट्रोपोस्फियर में है या स्ट्रेटोस्फियर में भी जाता है? ट्रोपोस्फियर में. Height is somewhere around 8.5 kilometers, while the height of the troposphere is somewhere around 16 kilometers over the equator. And poles पे 8 से 6 किलोमीटर, 8 से 10 या 8 से 6, बिकॉज ये वेरी होता रहेगा एज पर द सीजन्स. All the entire life is present only in the troposphere. Winds are present only in the troposphere. चाहे वो surface winds हो, चाहे वो jet streams, that is the upper air circulation. The clouds are also present only in the troposphere. Whether it is there are some of the clouds which are known as cirrus clouds which may be present here, but most of the clouds, weather phenomena, etc., is present only in the troposphere. And most importantly, even the cumulonimbus cloud is present only in the troposphere. And therefore, clouds that or rainfall will be only in the troposphere. Now, as we go up, in this area, the mixing of the wind stops, and therefore temperature का decrease भी stop होता है. So this region is known as tropopause, which is ideal for flying planes. Tropopause या stratosphere दोनों, डिपेंडिंग है आपकी प्लेन की कैपेसिटी और कितना दूर जाना है. If you want to go from Mumbai to Delhi, तो ऐसे जाके ऐसे नहीं आ सकते. So you will flow only in the lower atmosphere. But Mumbai to New York, you go up and come down. If you are a pilot of Sukhoi, यहाँ पे fly करोगे तो लोग बहरे हो जाएंगे नीचे. They will make so much sound. So they flow in the stratosphere. Mesosphere में, if you are a pilot of Rafale, इसलिए हम इतने ज़्यादा पैसे दे रहे हैं, तो मेसोस्फीयर नो फ्लाइट्स कैन गो. ओके, इसलिए हमें मेसोस्फीयर के बारे में आइडिया भी नहीं है. मेसोस्फीयर इज़ द बेस्ट थिंग फॉर अस एज अ स्टूडेंट, बिकॉज उसमें सिर्फ इतना याद रखना है, टेम्परेचर गोज ऑन डिक्रीजिंग विद द इंक्रीजिंग हाइट. इट इज़ द कोल्डेस्ट लेयर. एंड वाई वी डू नॉट नो? बिकॉज it is out of the limit of the flights. Flights cannot go beyond tropopause or lower stratosphere, and it is below the limit of rockets. Rockets cannot come below the ionosphere. So that is one layer where we do not have much information. We just know that meteors burn in that layer. If you want to study mesosphere, there is one option: sit in a balloon, let that balloon go up, and then study the mesosphere. So that is why we do not have any basic idea. But then next layer comes, that is the stratosphere. In the stratosphere, why this is what is happening? The temperature is increasing. Minus 62, it is going to increase up to 80 degrees Celsius. Now, why is this happening? Because the stratosphere has the presence of ozone, what we will call that as good ozone, because it will block the ultraviolet radiations from entering the earth. And because of this, it will protect the lower earth from skin cancer or from global warming. Now, the problem is we are depleting this good ozone because of gases which are known as CFC and HCFC. So, I am asking you one question here. So, what is the answer here? CFC? Yes. BFC? Methyl bromide? HFC? No. HFC is not. So, answer here is 1, 2 and 4. Now, exam में कैसे methyl bromide है कि नहीं? You do not know, but you know that जिसमें bromine है, that is harmful. So, what is bromine? Bromide means it is a compound of bromine, and thus you will have to come to the conclusion. Therefore, the answer is methyl bromide also. Instead of this CFC, if I give now, does it have chlorine? Yes, chloroform, it has chlorine, and thus it is harmful for the ozone layer. So, have the understanding of the concept, जिसमें bromine is there, जिसमें the chlorine is there, it is harmful for the ozone layer. And therefore, to protect the ozone layer, we have Vienna Convention, Montreal Protocol, and then we have Kigali Agreement. Same question. Which of the following gases are now covered under the Montreal Protocol? Options are same. What is the answer? Did Vienna Convention ban any of the gases? No. Did Montreal Protocol ban? Yes. All the brominated and the chlorinated gases, because they were harming the ozone layer. Then came 2016 में Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol or Kigali Agreement. But what is उसका name? Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol. And by that Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, even fluorinated gases HFC was added to the list of the banned gases. So now tell me the answer. All of above. Now look at the past year question, 2 बार आ चुका है. Have you written this? Understood everyone? Why this? Why? Because by Kigali agreement even fluorine is added to the list. Fine. Now the same question has come twice in UPSC. Once in 2008 and once in recent years. Now if you go, now this is the question which has come once in 2008. So now if you go by 2008 ka answer, the answer will be A and C only. But if the same question is repeated now in 2018-19, what will be the answer? Answer will be all of the above. Why? Because in 2016 even HFC was added to the list. So based on this I am asking you third question. Though I have not taught, but you have read this in the news. Correct statements. Which are correct? Answer 1 is correct. Paris Agreement tries to reduce the global warming by 2 degrees Celsius and it will try to limit that by 1.5. But पहला target क्या है? 2 degrees Celsius. Now read the second statement. Montreal Protocol only deals with the protection of ozone layer. Right or wrong? Why it is wrong? Because the word is only. It does not deal with the protection of ozone layer. With the addition of HFC, now Montreal Protocol also deals with global warming. I have told you in the last lecture that HFC is not harmful to the ozone layer. It is a super greenhouse gas and therefore to reduce the temperature, global warming, we have added HFC into the Montreal Protocol. इससे Montreal Protocol का dimensions, the area of the Montreal Protocol has increased. It was earlier dealing with only ozone depletion. Now it deals also with the global warming. So the second statement is wrong. So the answer here is 1 only. This is how applied questions come. Topics are same. The only thing is you have to understand the topics and this is how the questions come in the preliminary examination. You have to apply the knowledge what you have. This is you know, but still all you said कि ये right है तीनों, we have written the answer, but most of you said कि answer is both true. Silly mistakes. Understanding this? Limit the global warming below 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level. Below 2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level. I have just given a generalized statement. Obviously, the statement will come in the examination, a technical statement. Limit the global warming below, above the industrial level by less than 2 degrees Celsius. This is how the statement will come. I gave a very fast generalized statement. My focus was on the word only. And see, this is how UPSC will play with you. Up, what is the answer? Answer is both. समझ में आया? This is how each and every word matters in the preliminary examination. अब तक ये statement right है. It deals with protection of ozone layer and also global warming. पहले था word only. That is why the statement was wrong. So in this is the region of stratosphere where there is a dominance of ozone gas, and we will call the lower stratosphere as ozonosphere. After that there is stratopause, and again after this the temperature will go on decreasing, and it will become minus 80 degrees Celsius in the mesosphere. It is cooler than the temperature at the tropopause, and this is because density kam hai. If the density is lesser, we do not feel the temperature. At 90 kilometers from the height from the ground, this is the lower limit, this is the uppermost limit of lower atmosphere. This is the boundary of lower atmosphere and the upper atmosphere. What do we call this layer as? We call this as an Karman layer. Why it is important? Because meteors, after entering the Karman layer, they go in flames, they burn. So that is all about the mesosphere. So you can just remember with the help of diagram here ki meteors will burst or they will burn in this layer. And after that we go into the outer atmosphere, jahan pe the temperature goes on increasing and it becomes very, very high, and it may reach 2000, 3000 degree Celsius. But itna high temperature does not affect rockets, does not affect the astronauts, because the air is so rare here. Matlab the density is so less. ये molecules touch ही नहीं करते air के भी, and since the molecules do not touch, there is no transfer of heat. So sensible heat is different from the insolation, etc. But the temperature is very high. The only thing is it cannot be measured by the normal thermometer. Now this layer is very important because that is from 90 or 100 to 400 kilometers. This layer has the presence of charged particles, which we will call ions, and it is known as ionosphere. It is divided into further layers: D layer, E layer, F layer, G layer. जो GS में ज़रूरत नहीं है. It is known as an ionosphere. Ionosphere are the charged particles, and इनका importance are two. One importance is when you send radio signals from the Earth, it goes to the ionosphere, and the ions will help them reflect back to the Earth. So what is this technology? DTH, direct to home, satellite communication. It is only because of the presence of ions in the ionosphere that the radio signals are reflected back into the Earth, and as a result of this, communication is possible. Why? Because there are presence of ions. Second is, as you are going up at around 100 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, you are going nearer to the sun, and sun rays is coming full of energy. What is the sun rays made up of? Now tell me in general, does the sun rays consist of light? Yes. Din mein jab sun comes out, then only you can see. Sun rays consist of light. Does it consist of ultraviolet rays? Yes. Radio waves? Yes. Microwaves? Yes. Infrared? Yes. ये सारा है सन की एनर्जी. सो इसीलिए सन की एनर्जी को कहा जाता है स्पेक्ट्रम. Now because it is a common property resource of the world, sun is a common property resource, and therefore it belongs to the citizens of the world, and each and every country are allocated XYZ amount of sun's energy depending on how much of energy is falling. So इसमें से government may sell some of the sun's energy and what you call as 4G spectrum, 3G spectrum, 2G spectrum. जो spectrum है, radio waves are traveling in that bandwidth, and you know what I am talking, spectrum घोटाला. Why? Because the spectrum was sold at a very, very low price. You can say it was freely given away to some of the companies. And why? आपका क्या relation spectrum से? It is because it is a sun's energy, it belongs to the world, it does not belong to the only to the government, and government is elected by the people now. So that is what is the essence of spectrum. So you understand there are microwaves also, there are radio waves wala band also, in which the military communication uses some spectrum, our normal telephone uses some spectrum, then there are X-rays which are coming, which are used by the X-ray machines, there are UV rays, thankfully they do not reach the surface of the earth because of the ozone. This is how the spectrum comes, and in that entire spectrum we human beings can only understand visible light. We cannot communicate in ultrasonic, we cannot communicate it in supersonic. Sonic is the speed of light. So surprisingly, yes. फिर भी सैटेलाइट की बात ही की मैंने, नहीं DTH, डायरेक्ट टू होम. हाँ, सैटेलाइट्स आजकल आ गए, बट इवन आयोनोस्फीयर जो FM वेव्स या रेडियो वेव्स जो आते हैं, हाँ, लॉन्ग वेव और शॉर्ट वेव, दे विल रिफ्लेक्ट द लॉन्ग वेव एंड द शॉर्ट वेव रेडिएशंस. Now this is what is the ionosphere. इसका second importance is because it consists of the ions. It will react with the sun's का spectrum, and when they will react, Earth, does it have a magnetic field? Where is the magnetic field of a magnet greatest? On the poles of the magnet, या in the entire magnet? Poles. So because Earth behaves like a magnet, we know that Earth का magnetic field is greatest at North Pole and South Pole. So when the Earth का magnetic field is greatest at North Pole and South Pole, sun rays will come and they will interact with the Earth का magnetic field at both North Pole and South Pole. And because the magnetic field of the Earth will combine with the solar field of the sun, there will be lightning in the sky, which is known as aurora lights. Have you seen the photo of aurora borealis and aurora australis? What are this? The lights, natural lightning in the sky, just like firecrackers, because of the interaction of the solar energy with the magnetosphere or the magnetic field of the earth, जो ionosphere में हो रहा है, and this in the north pole is known as borealis, and this at the south pole, कौन सी बड़ी country है southern hemisphere में? Australia. So it is known as an aurora australis. So these are the magnetic lights, aurora borealis and aurora australis. So tell me now, will you find aurora lights in Norway? If you want to see aurora lights, you will go to Norway? Yes. Russia? Sweden? Denmark? Greenland is a part of which country? So applied socho thoda. Greenland is a part of which country? It is Denmark. USA? Alaska is a part of which country? USA. Canada? Yes. And Russia? Yes. This is how they will ask you. They will not ask कि ionosphere में है या नहीं. They will ask you, if you want to see the aurora lights, you will visit which of the following countries. And हम यही mistake. Denmark तो नीचे है, but we forget that Greenland is a part of Denmark. It is a political part of Denmark. We forget that Alaska is a part of USA. And if I give you another option, Australia, तो Australia is at poles? No. Australia has monsoon type of climate, so Australia उसी जगह है in southern hemisphere where India is in the northern hemisphere. So do we see the lights in the coming days? That will be firecrackers, not the aurora lights. So we will see that. अब तो green crackers भी आ गए हैं. So that will be firecrackers. That will not be aurora lights. Fine. So Australia नहीं. New Zealand? No. Southern hemisphere में no country. Why? Because no country is near the poles. Antarctica is not a country. Getting it? Antarctica is a ice cap. It is a continent. It does not have any people naturally staying there. Who stays naturally on Antarctica? Naturally. पोलार ये पेपर में आया था टेस्ट में अच्छा न्यूज़पेपर so this has been a past year question of UPSC not in I have told you this question so you know that polar bear is one of the largest predator on the land it is even bigger than tiger and bears versus tigers if who is more dangerous अगर आपके सामने bear है या आपके सामने tiger है which is more dangerous bear kills without reason tiger तभी मारता है when it is hungry otherwise it will or when it is irritated अगर if your tiger is near you and if it is not interested in you वो देखेगा भी नहीं आपकी तरफ so we have seen that is why king type they roam in the jungle when you are as a tourist वो देखते भी नहीं आपकी तरफ that is you try to catch a photo etc unless they are hungry or irritated bear will kill without a reason so we have many such incidences in India especially in the Amarkantak Plateau region where the bears come in the night and because they are like human beings they can walk on the two they will knock the door and you will think that someone has will open and they will kill you मतलब उनका accidentally they knock the door and we accidentally open it and this was the famous case this May when on the election duty 2 of the officers were killed because they thought कि उनका third friend who has gone in the village has returned back home so that is the bear and we have a case in the same region some weeks before that case when a person passing through Tadoba National Park on a bike is stopped by a tiger within some seconds एक tigress आती है but it is behind them so their way is blocked and you can see that video is also circulated and they after some time the only thing is because they are locals they know how to react they sit very still the tiger and tigress sniff them from the entire up to down just like pet dog sniffs us and then not interested they walk away so this is what is the difference between human animal conflict में now the polar bear which is the largest predator on the land UPSC ने question पूछा था does not eat the penguin जिनको answer पता है don't tell me does not eat the penguin because polar bear and penguin are in symbiotic association with each other one option second option the meat of penguin is not digestible by the polar bear third option penguin has poisonous covering on its wings fourth option none of the above I am repeating the option. Pehla option, symbiotic association with each other. Second, because meat is not digestible. Third, it has the poisonous covering on the wings. And fourth, none of the above. Answer is none of the above. Why? Because penguin stays in the south pole and polar bear stays in the north pole. Understanding? This is what general knowledge based questions are. One is in the north pole, polar bear. You do not find polar bears in the south pole. ये CDS का CPF के exam का question है, which is taken by the UPSC itself. And the penguins stay in the south pole. So therefore, एक इस area में and एक इस area में. Remember this GK based questions, which can come in the examination. And then after the ionosphere, that is after 400 kilometers, we have exosphere. It is famous for International Space Station International Space Station, which is a man-made satellite, is located in the exosphere, one of the nearest low orbit wala satellite. You can see International Space Station every day from India. In India, when it orbits the Earth, it comes over India at somewhere around 12 to 12:10 in the night. We'll see a very bright lights shining in the sky, moving with a great speed, and that is International Space Station. So that if the lights are strong, you can see the power of your eyes. You can still look till exosphere. That is somewhere around 600 to 700 kilometers away from the Earth. Fine with this? So you can take down the next part. आते हैं, डिस्टर्बेंस ज़्यादा है. इट इज़ बेस्ड ऑन द मॉड्यूलेशन. रात में क्लीन होता है, रात में इट इज़ मोर क्लियर. अनलेस इफ देयर इज अ रेनफॉल और स्टॉर्म, आज भी नहीं आएंगे. इफ द वेदर इज नॉट क्लियर, आज भी नहीं आएंगे रेडियो सिग्नल्स. इफ द वेदर इज क्लियर, रेडियो सिग्नल्स विल कम. बाद में क्या? अच्छा, चिकन मोमोज खाते हो? पता है उसमें सच्ची में चिकन होता है कि नहीं? 20 रुपीज़ में कहाँ चिकन मिलेगा तुम्हें? आर्टिफिशियली खा लेते हो. द सेम थिंग, पोलर बेयर विल आर्टिफिशियली ईट इट. So it is only because polar bear cannot come from this pole to this pole. So that's why it is not. So you can take it down. Thermosphere. Thermosphere. It is the outermost layer. It is the outermost layer. And the temperature goes on increasing with the increasing height. Temperature goes on increasing with the increasing height. Hence the name thermosphere. Hence the name thermosphere. Hence the name thermosphere. It is further divided into ionosphere, 100 to 400 kilometers. Ionosphere, or you can write 80 to 400 kilometers, क्योंकि वेरी होता है. 80 to 400 kilometers. 80 to 400 kilometers. In the ionosphere, this is a layer. This is a layer which has presence of electrically charged particles. Electrically charged particles known as ions. They reflect the radio waves back to the earth. They reflect the radio waves back to the earth. Third, normal communication, satellite communication नहीं, obviously satellites तो अलग ही है. So third, in this layer there is a presence of northern and southern lights. Known as aurora borealis. Boreal, have you heard the word taiga? Where is taiga? That is in the taiga is in the Siberia, Alaska, Canada, सिर्फ northern hemisphere में. इसीलिए इसका नाम है taiga, का दूसरा नाम है boreal. Therefore the name is borealis. that is aurora borealis in the northern hemisphere or at North Pole. And aurora australis in the South Pole. Aurora australis in the South Pole. This occurs due to interaction of Earth's magnetic field with the solar winds, Electromagnetic spectrum which reaches the earth, it comes with the greater intensity, हम उसको कहते हैं solar winds. You must have heard about sometimes कि solar wind is expected to come and it will disturb the signal. WhatsApp पे बहुत बार message आता है कि आज रात को solar wind is being very strong, so switch off your lights or phones, etc. So these are what are the solar winds. Exosphere. This is the outermost layer of the atmosphere. Here the temperature is very high. But due to extremely rare, or you can use this word, this also, less denser atmosphere, extremely rare or the less denser atmosphere, this temperature cannot be measured by normal thermometer. Less denser atmosphere, this temperature cannot be measured by normal thermometer. How heat is transferred? Heat is transferred by conduction, convection and radiation. So यहाँ पे conduction ही नहीं है, radiations do not reach and conduction होता ही नहीं है, so you cannot measure it normally जो heat feel होती है. So because there is molecules in itself do not touch each other. Will feel extremely cold there. Scientific thermometers are there. There is a difference between temperature and heat. There is a difference between insolation, heat, temperature. So just remember this, no need of going into that much details. Or if you want to know, pay the fees and join geography optional. See, this is what the structure of the atmosphere. यहाँ पे our relationship above the troposphere ends. अब जो भी आगे के topics है, we are going to study it with the help of only in the troposphere. And आगे के topics का relation is very very simple. If this is our Earth, the Earth is more like a system. Now, what do you mean by system?
It has different parts connected together, working together.
That is, system is made up of different parts. There is a processing that goes on inside the system. There is a input in a system and you get some certain kind of an output in a system. So earth is a system. जैसे कंप्यूटर सिस्टम यू से, सो उसमें इनपुट क्या है, माउस, कीबोर्ड, आउटपुट क्या है, मॉनिटर, एंड प्रोसेसिंग कहाँ हो रहा है, इन द सीपीयू. सो द सेम थिंग अर्थ बिहेव्स लाइक अ सिस्टम वेयर द इनपुट इज insolation and the output we get is temperature. Changes in the temperature, where the input is, and you can see they all are interrelated, where the input is pressure and the output we get is winds. What is the law of wind? Law of wind is which flows from high pressure to low pressure. Where the input is humidity, that is the amount of moisture that is present in the air, and the output is condensation, initially cooling, and then we get precipitation. So condensation, what are formed due to cooling? In the coming days, we will see fogs. So fogs are formed due to cooling. After fogs, clouds. Clouds are also formed due to cooling of an air. Then after that, we find dew. We find frost. We find mist. This all are the forms of the condensation. I guess you had one question like this in the test. Nahi. What are the different forms of condensation? So these are the different forms of the condensation. Condensation means anything that can stay on its own in the atmosphere, but they require aerosols. What require aerosols? Clouds require aerosols. Dew does not require, frost does not require, but fog and clouds require aerosols. And precipitation, that is after condensation, something which falls down. So if it is falling down in the liquid form, it is rain. If it is falling down in the liquid form but the diameter is very less, it is known as drizzle. हिंदी में बारिश, हिंदी में बूंदाबांदी. That is the basic difference between drizzle and rain. Then after that, snow, frost, sorry, not frost, hail. What is the difference between snow and hail? Hail is in the ice form and snow is snow. What is the difference between snow and ice? आपके फ्रीजर में स्नो ट्रे है या आइस ट्रे है? So is it hard? So hard granular substance is ice, which is caused due to freezing and melting, alternate freezing and melting. And snow is soft, always soft substance. So whenever there is a snowfall in Kashmir Valley or in any of the higher latitudes, though it is not dangerous. But hail, जो हमारे यहाँ होता है, it can kill the people because that is ice, very hard, which will come with the speed. So hail is what is known as ole in Hindi. And sleet. Now all these three will interact and they will result into formation of cyclones, anticyclones, sleet is frozen raindrop, melted raindrop. Extremely cold rain is known as sleet. It starts as snow, niche aate aate it will melt and then it is known as sleet. Not found in India, it is found only in USA and in the higher parts of Europe. India mein nahi. It will start at as a snow and niche aate aate because it was temperature will increase due to friction, it will melt. So the raindrop will be very, very cold. That is what is known as sleet. So this is our climate. Understand here. Not at all important, very rarely asked. अगर पूछेंगे तो only in P means pre. Pressure, yes, they frequently ask the pressure belts, generally in pre. Unless they ask one of the favorite question, why the deserts are always located on the western side of the continents. That you will understand while doing the pressure belts. Humidity may, it is not important except if it is the concept of relative humidity. And this is only important for preliminary examination. Temperature, yes, they ask the factors affecting temperature frequently in the preliminary examination. Kabhi questions are applied that we do not realize that it has come from the parts of temperature. Or they can ask you an applied question, why hill stations are cooler than the surrounding regions, or why the highest mountains in the world are having glaciers. It all has to do with the temperature. But winds, pre plus means, very important topic. You go and look at the past year questions and see how many times in both prelims and mains they have asked you about the winds. Local winds, seasonal winds, trade winds, westerlies, easterlies, chinook, fawn, dust storms. इस साल आया था dust storm पे question. So all these are done in the winds. And favorite climate of India, that is monsoon, is nothing but a seasonal wind. So winds में ही monsoon आता है. And monsoon is affected by El Nino, La Nina, Indian Ocean dipole. So all this will come in the winds. And then when we come here, this is another very technical topic and very important topic, what is known as a jet streams, both for prelims and mains. Generally यहाँ से question नहीं आएगा unless they ask you difference between fogs and clouds. But question from here will be related to the current affairs. And what are the two topics related to the current affairs? One is the pollution in India. And the other is artificial rainfall. And the third is rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting came this year itself. Pollution, so what are the steps to fight the pollution? So we will deal with the pollution ka concept in fogs and we'll do the steps to fight the pollution in environment. You had an essay itself regarding the steps to fight the pollution. I had discussed the steps one day before in the other batch and they came what are known as alternative technologies to fight the pollution and climate change. There are numerous new technologies which are coming up. One or two technologies you also know if you have gone to any of the bigger temples of India जिसमें बहुत ज़्यादा line होती है, and in spite of summer when you are standing there without footwear on a white strip, पैर में कुछ होता नहीं है, but उस white strip के बाद the ground is very hot. That is what is known as an high albedo paint which has come to India. That is one of the alternative technologies to fight the climate change and pollution. Dew, frost, mist, you should know just the definitions from the prelims point of view. Types of rain and its applied part. Do it from prelims plus mains point of view. Drizzle, snow, hail, slit, nahi, usme se hail, the formation of hail, why hail, you just have to remember it from prelims point of view. And then, these are the topics which are applied topics where they are very important from both prelims and mains point of view. Numerous questions can come from here. So cyclones दो type के हैं, tropical cyclones, temperate cyclones. And when we do that cyclones, इसके साथ we will do like we have done in the landslides, disaster management. Some recent news regarding the cyclone disaster management. तितली से कुछ new things which Orissa had done, इसलिए less number of people died as compared to Andhra Pradesh. Mangroves. So that is not a new thing, that is an old thing. I will discuss one new technology that has come to fight the cyclones. जो India में नहीं, but USA does it. USA creates mini cyclones so that larger cyclone does not destroy the entire region. Still, we are nothing in front of nature because you have seen Cyclone Matthew or Cyclone Florence destroyed major parts of USA. So these are the cyclones which are known by different names in different parts of the world. India में हम कहेंगे cyclones, USA में they will call this hurricanes, somewhere they will be called as willy willies, somewhere they will be called as the typhoons. Air masses generally is a very, very technical topic, but UPSC does not distinguish. Last year itself you had a question on air masses in the mains exam. So these are the topics which should be done very, very properly. And remember, each and every topic after insolation is very simple. Each and every topic after insolation is highly linked. If you miss the pressure belts, maybe you will not understand jet streams. If you don't understand jet streams, you will not understand Indian monsoon in India. If you don't understand Indian monsoon, you will not understand the types of forest in India. Once you do not understand the types of forest, you will not understand the soils of India. Once you do not understand the soils, you will not understand agriculture of India. And ultimately, you may not be able to remember the animal vegetation of India. It is so linked, climate. So climate is demanding in the terms of your attention, and climate is also the most important topic after Indian geography in the examination. Because paper 3, इस साल रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का क्वेश्चन किस में था? पेपर 3 में. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? GS1 में था. Floods, droughts, urban floods, all these are an example of an excess rainfall or no rainfall. So can I rub this part?
So many questions are mixed, like GS1 paper feels like GS3 kind.
Yes, yes, UPSC is doing that, and be prepared for such questions. So what is the insolation? Insolation is nothing but the short form for incoming solar radiation. The amount of solar radiation that reaches the earth is what is known as an insolation. So we have in, so, insolation. This is what is insolation. In Hindi, insolation matlab dhoop and temperature matlab garmi. That is the basic difference between insolation and temperature. So the amount of temperature, sun's energy that reaches the surface of the earth is what is known as insolation. And this insolation comes in the form of electromagnetic spectrum. Generally, this is low wavelength, lowest wavelength. And these are the bandwidth which is having the highest wavelength. Can I say in simple words, wavelength means distance traveled? How much distance a wave can travel? So this is the wavelength. This wavelength is greater. That is from here till here is the wavelength. And opposite to the wavelength is frequency. This frequency is greater, so wavelength is lesser. The distance traveled by the wave is lesser, but uska up down it's greater. So lowest frequency. So this is how the insolation comes. It is divided into, what is, anyone knows this? Sabse pehle gamma rays. After that, this is in your science 8th NCERT. After that, X-rays. After that, UV rays. Wavelength, they have to travel maximum distance from the sun. So inka wavelength is so less, that is gamma rays and X-rays rarely reach the surface of the earth, or do not even reach the surface of the earth. After that we have visible light. Can anyone give me the range of visible light? And this is further divided into that is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. This is how the lights come to us. Red light can travel the maximum distance out of all the visible lights. Violet and indigo have the shortest wavelength, इसलिए we cannot even spot them properly. How many of you get confused between blue, violet and indigo? आज भी, even if the color is shown to you. Can you distinguish? Especially if it is shown in the साड़ी, लड़कों के ड्रेस में तो क्या एक दो shirts फिर भी if it is shown in साड़ी, it is very difficult. Try, boys, you can try it after the marriage. So with your, here this is how the visible light comes, and then we have infrared, we have micro or radio, microwaves, and then we have radio waves. Remember this for prelims. This is the order. of the electromagnetic spectrum. Only this is visible to the human eyes. Out of all this, it is generally the infrared waves which are trapped by the greenhouse gases. So हमने पढ़ा था solar radiation comes in the form of short waves and the terrestrial radiation goes in the form of long waves. So earth generally gives out terrestrial radiation and the sun will heat up the earth will heat up the atmosphere. And some of very simple questions, obviously this is used in synthesis, used in the photosynthesis. Now remember some of the applied questions here. This I will not make you write, I am just telling you this. बाद में हम लिखेंगे when we come. Remember one basic rule, the shorter the wavelength, more is the scattering. Longer the wavelength, your eyes can spot it from a longer distance. Fine. So why does oceans have blue color? Because sky is blue. So why does sky have blue color? Because all these lights are scattered. उसमें से blue light is scattered the most and therefore the sky looks blue. Then we have the reflection of the sky on the water and therefore the oceans look blue or greenish in color. Greenish because they have phytoplanktons also. Why anywhere in the world there are only 3 traffic light signals? Red can be seen from a longer distance, so signal of danger anywhere in the world. Orange, yellow confuse ho jaoge, so it is the same thing. So signal of slow down. What does orange light means in reality, not in Delhi or not in India? Slow down. So it means slow down because there will be red after that. So orange means slow downs and green, even if you do not spot it from a longer distance, it does not matter because this is safe, go. So you have to know the applications. Third thing is which is having the longest wavelength of the visible light, orange and red. So when we see, if this is how the sun will come and set. So when the sun is on the top of us, it is the blue light which is scattered the most, sky looks blue in color. When the sun is farthest away from us in the morning dawn, or when the sun is farthest away from us during the evening dusk, sky will always look orange red. Why? Because your eyes can spot only red and orange color as they can travel that maximum distance. Baki ka light cannot reach you and therefore the sky does not look blue in color. Understanding this, why the sky looks orange and red in color? Because except for reddish orange, other lights cannot reach you. So kal question aata hai, why during the dawn and dusk the sky looks reddish orange? Answer is because reddish and orange color has the maximum wavelength and therefore our eyes can spot it from a longer distance. Getting it? Everyone? So these are some of the applied questions which come from this topic.
जो बोले white sky, then why the violet?
Why it does not look?
Violet.
Violet you cannot. Violet इतना ज़्यादा scatter हो जाएगा कि your eyes cannot even see it. So therefore we say blue light is scattered the most. The degree of scattering depends upon the radius of the particles. So even it will scatter, but which is the most dominant color, primary color इसमें? It is blue. So It is overshadowed by the other colors. What was the other doubt? Space does not have any color. कलर ही नहीं है, हवा को क्या कलर होगा? So, स्पेस है कहाँ पे? मतलब क्या है स्पेस? वहाँ तक जाओगे तो और उतना दूर जाना पड़ेगा. No. दिन में भी sky looks black. What is black color? When everything is absorbed, it is black color. What is red color? When everything is absorbed except red, it is red color. So black तो किसी का भी कलर हो सकता है, जिस ब्लैक होल का भी कलर ब्लैक ही होगा. So because it is absorbing everything. Factors affecting insolation, do it only for pre. So what is the one factor affecting insolation? If this is our earth, some part has dark, some part has day. So why is that? Rotation of the earth. So can I say one of the factor affecting insolation is rotation? The earth complete rotation in 24 hours. So because earth is a sphere, half part of it has a daytime which is not facing the sun, the half part of it is having the night time which is facing the sun. Now the question is, do each and every part of the world have equal length of day and night? No. Why so? Because this is not how the earth is. Earth is tilted at an axis, at an angle of 23.5 or 66.5. अगर यहाँ से मेजर करोगे तो अर्थ का टिल्ट इज 66.5. यहाँ से मेजर करोगे तो अर्थ का टिल्ट इज 23.5. Now, so take down first factor. मतलब what is top rotates or top revolves? क्या है रोटेशन और रिवॉल्यूशन में क्या डिफरेंस है? क्या है खुद के घूमना रोटेशन या खुद के खिलाफ उधर घूमना रिवॉल्यूशन? हाँ, रिवॉल्यूशन इज व्हेन इट गोज इन एन ऑप्टिकल प्लेन. We are talking only about rotation, even if earth is not revolving. Understanding? Revolution will cause difference between the day and night. Rotation, day and night. So, take down the first factor is rotation of the earth. Rotation of the earth. Due to the rotation, some parts of the earth experiences day, while some part of it experiences the night time. Ideally, each and every place on the earth, should have equal length of day and night. Each and every place on the earth should have equal length of day and night. But as the earth rotates in an inclined axis. Earth rotates in an inclined axis. On an inclined axis. Which is inclined at 23 and a half. 23 and a half to its क्या plane or axis? To its axis, or 66 and a half to its orbital plane. Orbital plane, orbital axis. Axis is vertical, plane is horizontal. And also revolves around the sun. And also revolves around the sun. There is variation in the length of day and night. There is variation in the length of day and night. As well as दिन और रात में variation तो क्या होगा? Temperature difference. If the days are longer than the night, more heating of the earth, more heating of the atmosphere. If the nights are longer than the day, what happens during the night time? Earth will lose the heat. So if the nights are longer, more cooling, right? So जब दिन are longer, summers, जब nights are longer, winters. So it also causes variation in the duration of day and night and seasons. And seasons. So कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है एग्जाम में, what causes day and night? Rotation or revolution? Rotation. What causes seasons? Revolution. And what causes variation in the length of day and night? Rotation on an inclined axis as well as revolution. Understanding this? Seasons or variation in the day of night. अगर कल क्वेश्चन आता है, वेरिएशन इन डे एंड नाइट इज कॉज ड्यू टू सीजन्स. सो कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है व्हाट कॉजेस रोटेशन ऑफ द डे एंड नाइट, उन्होंने ये नहीं पूछा कि कितना लंबा, सिर्फ डे एंड नाइट. सो व्हाट इज द डे एंड नाइट? द साइड विच फेसेस द सन विल एक्सपीरियंस डे टाइम, द साइड विच डज नॉट फेस द सन विल एक्सपीरियंस नाइट टाइम. बट द डे एंड नाइट आर नॉट सेम. नाउ हैड द अर्थ बीन स्ट्रेट, ये होता नॉर्थ पोल, ये होता साउथ पोल. This would have been the center of the earth, that is the equator. This would have been the Tropic of Cancer. We'll do the latitudes and longitudes as soon as we finish this topic. This would have been 66.5 degree north, 66.5 degree south. And then 90 degree north and 90 degree south. But this is not how we are. We are somewhat, if this is our earth, we are tilted at an axis of 23.5. And this is where the equator is. This is where the Tropic of Cancer is. This is where the Tropic of Capricorn is. And why it is, just understand. अभी फिलहाल ये समझ में आया? So this is how, and this is where the North Pole is. This is where the South Pole is. So we are inclined at an axis. अगर हम सीधा होते तो no seasons. India would have experienced the same climate throughout the year, which we experience in the month of late March and April. When जब 21 मार्च से 10 अप्रैल तक जो climate है, that would have been climate entirely throughout the year. That means India would have been deserts. Rainfall नहीं होता इंडिया में. Rainfall is created due to pressure belts. Pressure belts are created due to variation in the heating of the earth. So ये सारा linked है अब. Have to be. If you have any doubts, you ask me here, because everything will be linked now till we do the winds. So have you understood this concept? Now, Earth which is tilted at an axis, it also revolves around the sun. So understand, this is our sun. And this is the earth here. It is revolving as well as it is rotating around itself and revolving around the sun. वैसे in the elliptical manner, but I am showing in the circular manner itself. Earth. But how it is the earth? It is inclined. That means this is the equator. This is the North Pole and South Pole. This is the Tropic of Cancer. This is the Tropic of Capricorn. Can you tell me why it is known as Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn? Obviously astronomy से related होगा. Because when we say sun is in the Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn, sun is exactly opposite to Cancer zodiac sign. That is what is the Tropic of Cancer. वो line जो imaginary line है in the sky. And when we say Capricorn, sun is exactly opposite to the Makar. That is Capricorn when it is in the southern hemisphere. Globe ले आना globe. So this is how the earth is revolving around the sun as well as it is rotating around itself. So this is the reason for the seasons. Now why the seasons? Because this is where the earth is, in this position. After that, earth will come here. ये 2-dimensional है, ये 3-dimensional है. So नीचे नहीं, it will come here. After that, it will come in this position. You can see the axis. This is how the earth is. Even if I keep straight, ऐसा नहीं है. It is this way. And then earth will go behind. So this is how the rotation and revolution will be. Now let us take any starting point. So when the एवरेज ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर पे विंटर्स भी है. हम ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर पे है कि नहीं? अभी नहीं, हम नहीं है. मध्य प्रदेश वाले, इफ यू आर स्टेइंग इन द कैपिटल ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश, आर यू ऑन द ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर? यस. इफ यू आर स्टेइंग इन द सदर्न राजस्थान, आर यू इन द ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर? यस. मिजोरम, त्रिपुरा? यस. सो Tropic of Cancer is passing through some states of India. Does it pass through Gujarat? Does it pass through Rajasthan? MP? Chhattisgarh? Jharkhand? Yes. West Bengal? Then Tripura? Nagaland? Mizoram? Yes. So you should know this line through which the Tropic of Cancer is cutting. So Tropic of Cancer divides India into two parts. Tropic of Cancer के ऊपर का part is temperate. We are actually now in the temperate region. But क्या हमारे इंडिया का climate is same as Europe का climate which is in the temperate region? Is it same? What is the difference? Europe is also near the sea, Greece, etc.
सर एक्चुअली जो सनरेज का एंगल है वो ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर पे स्ट्रेट एंगल में पड़ती है और यूरोप में वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा टिल्ट हो जाता है तो एंगल जो है
ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर भूल जाओ. दिल्ली के इस साइड जाओगे तो you are in, or if you go on the western side of Delhi, are you eastern side of Delhi, will you land up in China? Look in the atlas, open the atlas, first page of India. India political, and see the difference in the climate between Delhi and some of the regions of the world. Delhi, can I say summers are very, very hot? Yes, more than 45-50 degrees के आसपास. But if you go to the east, you will land up near Mount Everest. एक ही latitudes के आसपास. And this is one surprising thing. And if you go further to the east, you will land up in Sikkim. Sikkim का climate and Delhi का climate. North and South Pole जैसा है. You will go in Arunachal Pradesh. So remember, Delhi is in the same latitudes as Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. Still, there is a greater difference in the climatic conditions. Uska reason is later on, but you can see this is why, in spite of winters being there in Delhi, during the daytime, the temperatures of North India, not the Himalayan states, of North India are as high as the temperatures of any regions which is between equator to Tropic of Cancer. That is as high as Chennai, as high as Mumbai, and therefore we say, though half of India lies in temperate and half of India lies in tropics, we say India is a tropical nation. Technically, India is both tropical and temperate nation. Technically, the area of India is greater above, 2 times greater above the Tropic of Cancer as compared to the area below the Tropic of Cancer. But still हम कहते हैं क्योंकि India is tropical nation, उसका reasons I will tell in detail in Indian geography, but one of the reason is because of daytime temperature and unity. Unity will see in the terms of agriculture. India is not famous for apples except for Jammu Kashmir, Himachal. India is famous for rice. India is famous for sugarcane. India is famous for tea, which are tropical crops. One of the unifying factor why we say India is a tropical nation, Delhi में भी dengue मिलेगा and Chennai में भी dengue मिलेगा. And dengue is a tropical disease. You will not find dengue, malaria, chikungunya in the temperate regions because they thrive on heat. ये सब points है exam के, याद रखना. Question will be why India is considered as a tropical nation. There are numerous points. So these are just 2 points which I have said, and uska reason, one of the reason is here. So this is the position where the sun is, where the earth is. So in this position where the earth is right now, the sun rays are falling directly on the Tropic of Cancer. The sun rays are falling directly on the Tropic of Cancer. And therefore, because it is falling directly on the Tropic of Cancer, have you understood why? They are falling kahan pe? Because the earth is tilted. Agar earth straight hota, it would have been falling on the equator. But because the earth is tilted, it is falling on the Tropic of Cancer. And this occurs every year on 21st of June. And we will call this as summer solstice. Or technically, because we are in the northern hemisphere, हम इतना technically नहीं पढ़ते, this is north summer solstice, because during this time the northern hemisphere has maximum sun rays, but there is no sun rays falling in the southern hemisphere. So it is northern summers northern hemisphere has summer season, but the southern hemisphere has winter season. And therefore it is the longest day and shortest night in the northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere. Why? Because Earth is a sphere, and किसी भी sphere के अगर sunlight हो रहा है, a half part will be illuminated, the half part will not be illuminated. So I am dividing it into the half. We'll say कि यहाँ पे night है and the other part has day. Which area is more brighter? Equator के ऊपर का या equator के नीचे वाला? ऊपर वाला. You can see longest day, यहाँ पे shorter days and the longer nights. And Earth is rotating. No matter how the Earth is rotating, South Pole पे कभी sun rays पड़ी नहीं रहे. So South Pole has what? South Pole has night. In fact, South Pole has 6 months of night and 6 months of day. इस समय North Pole has 6 months of day, यहाँ से यहाँ तक, and North Pole अभी 6 months of night time. Understanding this? Everyone? After that, Earth will continue its journey and it will come to this position. Now when it is coming to this position, the sun rays are falling directly on the equator. So the sun rays fall directly on the equator. And the sun rays are falling directly on the equator, you will call this as equinox. But which is this, spring or autumn for us, northern hemisphere? So it is known as autumnal equinox. When does it occur? It will occur on the 23rd September. Why the word equinox? (50-50) insolation बढ़ जाएगा. Equal day and equal night. Again, equal day and equal night at all the places between Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, one option. Equal days and equal nights at all the places between 66.5 to 66.5 south. Third, equal days and equal nights at all the places in the world except poles. Fourth option, equal day and equal nights at each and every place on the earth including the poles. क्या है? What do you mean by equinox? Means equal day and equal nights. So I am giving you option. Why it is known as equinox? You tell me the right. Each and every place between tropics, that is between the Tropic of Cancer B, each and every place between 66.5 degree north to 66.5 degrees south. See, each and every place except poles 90 degree and D, each and every place. सोचो थोड़ा, including poles. What do you mean by equinox? Answer is, it is known as equinox because each and every day, including the poles, has equal day and equal night. डिफ्यूज सनलाइट पहुंच जाता है पोल में, नॉर्थ पोल एंड साउथ पोल में एक ही दिन ऐसा होता है जहां 12 घंटे का दिन एंड 12 घंटे की रात होती है. फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट डे इट इज 6 months ऑफ डे और इधर 6 months ऑफ नाइट. दैट इज इफ यू गो टू नॉर्वे नाउ इट इज ऑलरेडी नाइट. अब तो हमारे यहाँ पे इट इज अ डे टाइम, मुझे लगा नाइट है. सो but Norway में it is like this, it will be pitch darkness in Norway in the polar regions because of sun is where in the southern hemisphere. Sun is no longer the earth, sun rays are falling no longer in the northern hemisphere. हमें लगता है sun is rising and setting, but actually it is we who are rotating and revolving and the sun is stationary. Understanding? So what is the meaning of equinox? Each and every place on the earth including the poles will have equal day and equal night. So we have 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Now the earth rotates in such a way that we feel that sun is going in the southern hemisphere. Actually we are moving away from the sun, and because the earth is inclined at an axis, a maximum sun rays are falling on the, this is the tropic of Capricorn. We are here. Where is India? India is here, but the sun rays are now falling on the tropic of Capricorn. And therefore for the northern hemisphere, because the sun rays, that is the heating is less, we will call this season as winter. And exactly when the day on which the sun reaches this position, when the earth reaches this position, when the sun rays fall exactly on the tropic of Capricorn, we'll call this as winter solstice. But actually what it is the summer season in the southern hemisphere. It is winter season only for us in the northern hemisphere. So in the northern hemisphere, ये कब होता है? Generally on 22nd of December. So it is the shortest day and longest night, but in the northern hemisphere. But in the southern hemisphere, the conditions are exactly vice versa. So El Nino or heating of the Pacific Ocean occurs during southern summers. So क्या El Nino मई में आएगा या दिसंबर में आएगा? El Nino always occurs in December. Why? Because it is associated with the summer season of the southern hemisphere. Understanding this? One day. Yeah. One day, 24 hours ka day. Out of that 24 hours, 12 hours day, 12 hours night. After that, entire 24 hours day in the North Pole. Entire 24 hours night time in the North Pole. South Pole, night and day. That is except for these 2 days, 23rd September, and when the sun, earth continues uska journey to such an extent that again the sun rays are falling exactly on the equator, we call this as spring or vernal equinox. Can someone tell me when it occurs? 21st of March. Again equal day and equal nights. So except for 21st March and 23rd September, South Pole and North Pole will be either having daytime or night time. सिक्स मंथ्स मतलब 21 मार्च से 23 सितंबर तक, 21 मार्च के बाद से 23 सितंबर से पहले तक इट इज डे टाइम एट नॉर्थ पोल. उसके बाद ओनली ऑन दिस डे और ऑन दिस डे इधर देर इज सनराइज एंड सनसेट एंड आफ्टर दैट अगेन इट इज अ नाइट टाइम. सब जगह नॉर्थ पोल में, नॉर्थ पोल, एंटायर नॉर्थ पोल और एंटायर साउथ पोल. Equinox, because that is the spring season and this is an autumn season. What is spring season? A moderating season between winters and summers. During the winters, because winter is a dry climate, therefore the plants will shed the leaves. You will see in Delhi the plants are already shedding the leaves. And because plants require heat and humidity both. Heat is not there in the winter season. So to conserve the loss of water through moisture, through evapotranspiration, how do the plants lose the water? Through leaves. So they will shed their leaves. You can see in the surroundings, the trees are already shedding the leaves. And let March come, as the heat will come. Why the heat will come? Because now the sun ka journey. Imagine you are stagnant and sun is going around you. So आपको क्या लगेगा? Sun 21 मार्च को is exactly on the equator. And after that it will come into the northern hemisphere. It will stay in the northern hemisphere. Exactly on 21st of June, the sun rays will be falling on the Tropic of Cancer. Then it will continue its journey, and on 23rd of September, sun will be back on the equator. And after it is back on the equator, the sun will again go back to the southern hemisphere. Actually, it is not the sun who is setting, rising, sun who is moving. The only thing is we feel that sun is moving, but actually who are moving? We are moving. We are moving and sun is stationary. We do not feel we are moving because we are moving with a great speed. You have seen this in the train. If you are moving with a great speed, आपको लगता है you are stationary and बाजू की train or the other part is moving. So that happens. That is what is the relativity. So on these days, on the 21st of June or on the 22nd of December, the sun rays are such that they will fall only on the Tropic of Cancer, or they are found only at this line, Tropic of Capricorn. So we call this as tropics. So when they fall on the Tropic of Cancer, this is the maximum sun rays are falling in the northern hemisphere. So the northern hemisphere has summer season and the southern hemisphere has winter season. Now vertical sun rays are falling here in the southern hemisphere. We do not get vertical sun rays. Right now, why there is less heating in the sun? Because the sun rays are coming in inclined manner. Why it is coming in inclined manner? Because we are somewhere here between September to December. The sun rays are not vertically falling on us. They are falling in the inclined manner. And remember, when anything falls in an inclined manner, uska heating power is less. When anything falls in a vertical manner, uska heating power is more. Why laser is so dangerous? Because it is vertically falling. All that part is concentrated. You must have done in your school days a magnifying glass. What does that magnifying glass does? It takes the sun rays and concentrates. So you can burn the paper with the magnifying glass. Or what is solar cooker? Concave glass. Sun rays fall and then they fall on the food. So it's all about the vertical versus the inclined manner. You will understand this concept in the third factor. We are doing just the first factor. Understanding this? Let me complete. So when this entire rotation and revolution occurs in such a way कि हमें लगता है this is summers, then the heat starts decreasing and एकदम cold नहीं आता, but there is a high temperature during the daytime but the cold temperature during the night time, and right now this season we are experiencing is autumn. Understanding? But as soon as the sun will go near, the earth will go away from, the earth will go in such a manner that the sun rays will be falling directly on the tropic of Capricorn. December aate we will say, or November aate we will say the winter has arrived. What is that winter and summer? Nothing but maximum amount of sun rays. If it is in the southern hemisphere, we northern hemisphere wala people feel cool. Why cool? Because only half of this is illuminated. So north hemisphere has more of an darkness and the southern hemisphere has more of a light. So rotation, day and night. And then after this, the earth starts uska journey that we feel the sun is now coming back to the equator. Sun will come exactly over the equator again on spring equinox, and then June, May, peak summer season. Have you understood this?
So one doubt, sir. If you could draw axis here in this autumn equinox, can I show it?
I cannot draw the axis here, but you can understand with this. The sun rays are falling exactly on the equator. This is where the earth is. यहाँ पे the sun rays are falling exactly on the tropic of Cancer. Here exactly on the equator. Here it is falling exactly on the tropic of Capricorn.
So my question is, the entire north or south, how could it be one half day, one night?
Means? Oh, you ask me after the class then. I got your doubt. He is asking why equinox mein entire northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere is exactly half day and half night. Can you someone tell me why? Because the sun rays are falling exactly on the center of the earth, that is equator. And because it is falling on the center of the earth, half part is illuminated, the other half part is dark. Earth is also rotating. So half part will be illuminated, half part will be dark. But during the equinoxes, whether it is spring or autumn, I'll take now during the solstice, I'll take now the winter solstice. ऐसा है. Understanding? So now the sun rays are falling only on the tropic of Cancer. So it is dividing the half here. So because it is dividing the half, you can see due to the inclination of the axis, sun rays are not directly falling on the polar regions. Sun rays are falling on the tropic of Capricorn. This is how the earth is. Only half part of the earth will be illuminated. You can understand this better with the diagram. If you have not understood, ask me after the class. Any other doubts?
What is the concept of October winter?
That is different. That is associated with monsoon. एग्जैक्टली नहीं होगा, पर वो बोला जाएगा 6 months ऑफ डे. डिफ्यूज इवनिंग टाइम को भी वो लोग नाइट कहेंगे. एग्जैक्टली तो ऐसे नहीं होगा. Have you understood these things? What is winter solstice? What is winter solstice? Anyone tell me what is winter solstice? ये इतना आसान concept है. What is the problem here? Winter solstice is earth is inclined in such a way that the sun rays are falling on the tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn northern hemisphere में है या southern hemisphere में? In the southern hemisphere, 23.5 degrees south. Therefore, because the sun rays are falling on the tropic of Capricorn, north hemisphere, pura north hemisphere is receiving less sunlight, or it is receiving inclined sun rays. Now I am understood the confusion. वो इसलिए confusion है आप सब में, because instead of taking this as a second factor and explaining you the first factor, inclination of the sun rays, I took this as a first factor and I will be teaching you inclination of the sun rays as a second factor. So जितना inclined sun rays, उतना you understand is the heating power. So during this time, there is a peak winter season, and therefore we will call this as winter solstice. But किसके लिए winters? Only for us. But for the people in Australia, this is summer. This is summers for us, but for the people in Australia, this is winters. Yes, what was the doubt? Yes. Because you can see, even if the earth is rotating, ये हमेशा illuminated रहेगा. This half will be dark, this half will be illuminated. No, shift नहीं हुआ है. Understanding this, what is solstice and equinoxes? Now you understand what is the necessary condition कि sun exactly English calendar follow करेगा. ज़रूरी नहीं है, right? Because sun will complete उसका rotation in 33 revolution in 365 and 1/4 days. So हर 1/4 day हर साल में there is an 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 day. So one day is added in the English calendar and it becomes a leap year. So ज़रूरी नहीं कि English calendar के हिसाब से sun is moving. Now do we require sunlight in a tropical country like India? Is sunlight a life for us? Why? Because we are agriculture based economy. Agriculture के लिए we require kharif crops के लिए we require sunlight. High heat and high humidity is good for any crops. Understanding this? So when, understand here, when the sun is in the southern hemisphere, उसके बाद there comes a position कि we feel that sun has started moving to the equator. Now imagine that sun is moving, or earth moves in a such a way that we start feeling that now the sun rays will start falling in the northern hemisphere. We start celebrating this as Makar Sankrant, somewhere around 14th of Jan, when the sun starts coming back to the northern hemisphere, or Pongal, or by different names. Why? Because we celebrate sunlight. We, Baisakhi, we celebrate sunlight because ours is an agricultural country. Then when it comes exactly on the equator, equinox, 21st of March, is what is known as the Indian New Year or Hindu New Year. It is known again by different names, Ugadi, Gudi Padwa, or in North India it is Navratra. Understanding this? So it is Navratra in North India, or it is Ugadi, it is Gudi Padwa. Why? Because after that earth will continue its journey in such a way that now the sun rays will start falling in the northern hemisphere, और हमारा cropping season शुरू होता है, and this is what is our Zaid cropping pattern. Dry summers वाला cropping pattern, Zaid. Watermelon, etc. All the melon varieties. Then on 21st of June, ज़रूरी नहीं हमेशा 21st of June, ज़रूरी नहीं that Gudi Padwa will occur on 21st of March. It sometimes occurs in April, sometimes occurs in late March. Why? Because sun does not follow. So when 21st of June is what, actually if it is occur, we call this as a Mrug Nakshatra. Aaj even Indian farmers will wait for this day and they will start sowing the season, and this is our Kharif cropping season. Now what is this Kharif? What are the important Kharif crops in India? Rice, groundnut, wheat? No. Cotton, sugarcane, maize, or take important crops, tea, coffee, tobacco, XYZ. So this is when the farmers, after the rainfall, because humidity will come during the monsoon, they will start sowing the crops. And in the month of September, 4 महीने बाद the crops will come out and they will harvest the crops. Once they harvest the crops, तो starting में जब sun starts moving down somewhere, you again ये हमारी नवरात्र शुरू हो जाती है जो अभी शुरू हुई है. Understanding this, it is all based on the pattern of the sun. The only thing is the dates will keep on changing. कोई भी oriental calendar, not just Indian calendar, कोई भी eastern calendar, whether it is Buddhism, whether it is Islam, whether it is Hinduism, they will not follow the English calendar because sun does not follow the English calendar. And then after the selling of the crops, when the money used to come, so somewhere here Diwali was there. Understanding this? What was the earlier this thing Diwali? Lakshmi aati hai ghar mein, they used to say. And what is this Lakshmi? Lakshmi means crops. India is an agriculture based economy. So the crops and the money used to come. So tab khana properly banta tha because the crops used to come. And after selling, so pehle ke logo ko pucho, you ask even your parents, they used to buy only twice in a year. Dasera and Diwali, kapde ho, anything. Because money used to come only during that time. एंड उसके घर में बहुत सारी चीज़ें बनती थी, वेदर इट इज चकली, वेदर इट इज एवरीथिंग. आजकल सब रेडीमेड है, सो दैट डज नॉट मैटर, बट दिस इज व्हाट इज द दिवाली. एंड आफ्टर दैट वी हैव राबी क्रॉपिंग सीजन, जहां पे ओनली वन इंपॉर्टेंट क्रॉप इज wheat. वैसे in the international market and even in the Indian market, rice is fetching more. So कल अगर क्वेश्चन आता है प्रीलिम्स में, हम इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर में करेंगे राइस वर्सेस व्हीट, विच इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट क्रॉप? इट इज राइस, बिकॉज राइस का यूटिलिटी इज मोर ग्रेटर देन द यूटिलिटी ऑफ व्हीट. एंड आजकल ये प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. So rice traditionally a crop of peninsular India, a region where rainfall is very very high. But after green revolution and irrigation, northwest India, Punjab, Haryana, western UP, जहाँ पे rainfall is very less, they have started growing rice. Why? Because irrigation is there. Why irrigation is there? Remember geomorphology, perennial rivers. Fine, canal irrigation. So this region, which is traditionally a wheat growing region, now is taking a variety of rice known as basmati rice, which has very high demand in the international market. Earlier they did not used to take rice. Now they take rice, and as soon as the rice ka cropping season ends, there is a wheat ka sowing season. Wheat ka crop will come out somewhere here, sowing season. But because this is a semi-arid region which is not naturally meant for rice, paddy crop यहाँ पे develops thick stubble, and therefore in the recent years, instead of removing the stubble, they are doing stubble burning. Understanding this? So this is why the stubble burning is done, and why stubble burning is becoming the problem only in the northwest India. फिर there is a wind which is known as jet streams. Jet streams always move from west to east. So जो पंजाब का what is the agricultural climate? The same agricultural climate is of Pakistan. So Pakistan also does stubble burning, and because Pakistan does stubble burning, Pakistan is west to us. So when the jet streams come during the winter season, they take all the pollution from Pakistan, Punjab, Haryana, and it comes and settles over Delhi and the Great Plains of India during the winters. So you see stubble burning, and we blame Diwali ka crackers, but the major cause is stubble burning. Therefore you see how much government is focusing on stubble burning. Why only in the recent years? Why not during the ancient times? Because this is not a rice growing region. It has started taking rice only in the recent years. Then why rice they are taking from 67? Why from 2010 pollution, 2005 pollution? Pollution has increased from 2005 onwards. What was the biggest legislation during 2005? Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Program. So after Manrega, agriculture labor has become very costly. There has been reverse migration of agriculture laborers from Punjab back to their home states. Why? Because वहाँ पे भी सरकार job दे रही है. Understanding this? and therefore finding an agriculture laborer is very costly. So the farmers के लिए the cheapest way is to burn the crop. Understanding this? Otherwise higher, how much? 180 rupees anyways they are getting. So विदा मेहनत किए ज़्यादा, उसमें से 80 rupees, even if the corruption में the ठेकेदार is taking 100 rupees, तो they are getting सिर्फ अंगूठा मारने के, right? मनरेगा is one of, किसी statement is one of the most corruption का जड़ है मनरेगा, right? It is a good thing also, it is a bad thing also. It is a good thing because it has given employment. It is a bad thing because it has increased the price of agricultural inputs. आजकल agriculture workers, laborers नहीं मिलते. Ask your parents if they are doing agriculture and they will say आजकल labor नहीं मिलती. And that has happened after मनरेगा. And as a result of this, the pollution has increased. So जो आप newspaper में पढ़ते हो, you have to understand it conceptually. The problem can be solved only if we hit the root cause, not just asking farmers not to do it. You have to give them solution. Laborers नहीं तो you have to give them equipments. Just telling them कि आपको जेल हो जाएगी, they are not going to listen. You have to give them equipments. And उसके बाद जो entire जो ये है stubble, उसको store करने के लिए, उसको फेंकने के लिए भी you have to give them some place. And वहाँ पे comes third generation, second generation biofuels, because that stubble is important. It can be used for making ethanol. That is the biofuel. But for that, there should be compulsory blending of petrol and diesel. So policy तो है 2005 से, it should be, or 2010, 2018 maybe the blending is not being done. Why? Because nothing has happened on the ground. Everything has happened only on paper. Understanding this? So you cannot just blame the farmers, because this is the, even they know it is harmful. If you read the interviews of the farmers, they know even their children are suffering. But to employ the laborer, to employ the tractors or trucks and dump them somewhere else, then pay the fine of the government because you have dumped in green zone, non-green zone. So उससे अच्छा best है जला दो. Understanding this? So this is the entire issue, and this is what you have to relate to the solstice and the equinoxes. Fine with this? One more thing, you remember, I am just drawing in this. This is a dry summer season, March, April, May, which is famous for hot winds known as Lu in North India. The ground becomes so hot that air from the ground starts rising upwards. March, April, May are the 3 months when the ground becomes very hot, and therefore the air rises up. As the air rises up from India, the surrounding winds from the Indian Ocean comes towards India, and therefore this is monsoon. Does water takes time to get heated as compared to the land? Yes. Water will take time to get heated, and therefore at the end of monsoon, September, October is the season of tropical cyclones in India. On the sea. Tropical cyclones abhi aap pad rahe ho, Titli etc. Why? Because simple reason hai, the water takes time to get heated. Land gets heated at a very faster rate as compared to water. Fir, the sun is in the southern hemisphere here. So northern hemisphere ki air will become colder. Is the colder air denser? Yes. So will it sink down? Yes. So nowadays this is the season of pollution in India. Pollution, जितना भी साल भर का pollution है, it is up. दिवाली आते ही और winters आते ही it starts coming down. ऐसा नहीं कि we are polluting more. We are polluting entire year. But जब pollution आता है, then we realize odd even scheme. So 4 days of odd even scheme, how it can remove the pollution that is caused entire year. The only thing is do not realize because the warm air rises up, so it takes away all the pollutants and the cold air is, so पूरे साल का pollution it is bringing down. Or this is what is you will understand this in the coming lectures, why northeast monsoons. कौन सा? मेरे को नहीं पता, देखना पड़ेगा. ऑटोमिक क्लॉक हो सबसे प्रिसिशन, हाँ प्रिसिशन तो उसी से आपसे आएगा. मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस थे इंडिया में तब. So fine with this. This is what is the northeast monsoon. Now this is somewhere the October is here. Understand the sun, the sky is now after the monsoon season, clouds nikal jayenge because the dry. But during, so clouds if they are gone, are the sun rays directly coming and hitting us? Yes. Right? Even if the sun rays are not directly falling vertically, but they are coming and hitting us. When there was a cloud cover, the sun rays used to be stopped by the clouds. The sun rays are coming and directly hitting us, but in the last 3 to 4 months, there has been heavy rainfall. Is water vapor a greenhouse gas? Yes. So during the daytime, they will trap the heat, but night time may the heat will be lost because sun is not there. So during the daytime, the temperatures are very, very hot. Night is cold, and this is what is October heat. If they, why October heat? Because of the previous moisture. The water vapor is going to trap the heat. So this is what you should know, the relationship between Indian cropping pattern, Indian climate, and what is known as an they will not ask you this all things, but it will indirectly help you in solving many of the questions. How? That is because of global warming, अब इस season में एक नया problem है. That is dust storms. इस season में thunderstorms. इस season में dry winters. There are no western disturbances. And all this stubble burning, etc., is contributing to Asian brown cloud. Asian brown cloud, the high amount of pollution over Asia. Fine with this? So you can take down now. Cropping का नहीं, because sowing किया जाता है, इधर harvesting होगा मार्च तक. मार्च के बाद ज़ैद आ जाएगा. क्या? कौन सा? October में, because winter start, night start becoming cooler in the October. So cold air is always denser. It has the tendency to sink, and जितना भी साल भर का pollution है वो नीचे ले आएगा. So therefore, you will be more clear about this rotation and revolution after watching animation tomorrow. I will show you the animation of how the earth goes. So you can take down now. Factors affecting rotation of the earth. What is the first factor? Factors affecting insolation, rotation and revolution of the earth. So you take down here. Due to the rotation and the revolution of the earth, due to the rotation and the revolution of the earth, there is a formation of solstice and equinoxes. There is a formation of solstice and equinoxes. Solstice and equinoxes. 21st of June, northern summer solstice. 21st of June, northern summer solstice. Because the sun rays are vertically falling over. Because the sun rays are vertically falling over the tropic of कौन सा? Cancer. Sun rays are vertically falling over the tropic of Cancer. Next point, due to the apparent movement of the sun, which movement? Apparent movement. Apparent movement means हमें लगता है sun is moving. Due to the apparent movement of the sun, the sun rays vertically fall over the equator. Sun rays vertically fall over the equator. Vertically fall over the equator. On 23rd of September. On 23rd of September. And therefore, as the light is equally distributed from the center of a sphere, equator क्या है? Center of a sphere. As the light is equally distributed from the center of a sphere, each and every place on the surface of the earth, each and every place on the surface of the earth experiences equal day and equal night. Experiences equal day and equal night. Experiences equal day and equal night. Causing equinox. Causing equinox. Causing equinox. Next point. As the earth continues its journey, as the earth continues its journey, on 22nd of December, on 22nd of December, on 22nd of December, the sun rays fall directly over the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun rays fall directly over the Tropic of Capricorn. Therefore, it is winters in the northern hemisphere, winters in the northern hemisphere, winters in the northern hemisphere, and summers in the southern hemisphere. Summers in the southern hemisphere. बारिश हमारे यहाँ पे मानसून में which season? June, July, August, September. Monsoon type of climate is present in two parts of the world, India and Australia. So Australia का monsoon will start now. Why? Because Australia is Tropic of Capricorn and India is the Tropic of Cancer. So right now in Australia, the climates are same as we have in April and May. But April and May in Australia, the climate is as we are having now. Remember, if it is in summers in northern hemisphere, it is winters in southern hemisphere. Why? Because the earth is inclined at an axis. And then the sun again comes, and then on 21st of March, on 21st of March, on 21st of March, the sun rays are again falling on the equator. Sun rays are again falling on the equator, causing spring equinox, causing spring equinox, causing spring equinox. See, two main seasons, summers, winters. Summers and winters के बीच में it is autumn, and winters and summers के बीच it is spring. Spring in India, Basant Rutu, right? Spring is known for heat, and therefore पानी इतना नहीं है, so पेड़ इतने, because what rainfall does not start, so trees cannot grow, but shrubs, flowering plants will start growing, and anywhere in the spring it is totally colorful. इसलिए in spring we play with colors. Holi, Holi comes in spring. Everything is associated with the movement of the sun. Understanding this? अब natural होली जो पहले खेली जाती थी, not today's होली. So but this is because colors. And autumn is always associated with dry conditions because the trees will start shedding the leaves. Next factor affecting the insolation. Based on this, there has been one question. This is our New Year. Government ka New Year is when? When is our financial year starting? When is our official year starting? And when is our cultural year starting? India is a country of diversity. 21st March can also be a new year. Vikram Samawat. India Yearbook, first chapter. Understanding? Official year, 1st Jan. Financial year, 1st April. NABARD का financial year, RBI का financial year, so one or two questions like this are asked in the examination every year. So the second factor is, now you'll understand why solstice and equinox, is angle of the sun's rays. Now on any day, again it is a general knowledge based, on any day, which is the hottest part of the day, morning, afternoon or evening? Why? Because if you are standing here in the afternoon, sun is vertically overhead, इसलिए afternoon, and the sun rays are directly falling on the surface of the earth. When they are directly falling on the surface of the earth, they are covering lesser surface area. And because lesser surface area is covered, what is more is the heating power, concentration of the same intensity sun rays, it is falling on the lesser surface area and therefore it gets heated up. On the other hand, when the sun is far away from us, it can be evening, morning, or it can be from 23rd of September to 21st of March. the sun rays are falling in an inclined manner, and see again I am drawing the straight lines. They fall over the much larger surface area, right? And therefore heating power, जो heat है, it is equally distributed, and therefore heating power is less. Plus, when sun is in the inclined, it has to pass through maximum layers of the atmosphere, because earth is not flat. It has to pass through maximum layers of the atmosphere, and the simple law of energy, the longer this distance, there is more greater loss, transmission and distribution loss. You have seen this also. If you are, especially if you are engineering background, you know that transmission and distribution losses. There cannot be large number of grids at a very, very far away places, because if you transfer electricity, it will be lost. Energy is lost if it is transferred for longer. So the sun rays, because they are covering larger distance, longer distance, there is losses, plus atmospheric dust, aerosols, they will reflect some part of sun rays. Clouds, they will absorb some part of the sun rays. There will be more of an scattering, and therefore the heating power is reduced. इसलिए even today, दिन में धूप तो है. In the coming winters, there will be sunshine, but the sunshine, because it is inclined, it is somewhere in the southern hemisphere. You will like that sunshine. You will sit in the sun in the morning or afternoon time. But yehi May mein karo, when the sun is exactly on the top of us, 40 degrees, 45 degrees, our skin will get burned. Understanding this? So now, because you have to understand everything here, you have to understand this logically. With the winters, the sun is now in the southern hemisphere, the sun rays are more inclined, it does not have heating power, and therefore evaporation is less. Evaporation is less, so most of you will start using cold cream in the coming days. Moisturizer. Why? Because there is no humidity in the atmosphere, and humidity is responsible. Is touching the face abhi se. So there is no humidity in the atmosphere, and therefore you require much of an cold cream. Understanding this? Remember the cold cream ka idea, because it is directly associated with the topic after this, what is known as temperature inversion. Temperature inversion is associated with fogs. So remember angle of the sun rays, vertical sun rays, fall over lesser surface area, and therefore cause more heating, plus they travel shorter distances. Why India is a founder of Indian International Solar Mission or International Solar Alliance? Why? Because we are a tropical country. We know at least 2 times in a year sun will be vertically overhead us. One when it is going from tropic equator to the tropic of Cancer, and फिर से when it is going from tropic of Cancer to the equator. So initially International Solar Alliance had only those countries which are located in tropics as its members. Has it changed now? So what is the change now? So do you do as a assignment what is International Solar Alliance and उसका members? 2 चीज़ें याद रखना, कौन सी 2 country founding member है, which year, was there any major summit this time or many conference, and today who are the members. That is, just remember geographical location, which countries are allowed to become members. Jahan we are in the tropics where the sun rays are vertical, we have a high amount of solar power output. So our project is renewable energy ka making solar how much energy? 100 gigawatts by 2022. Why Trump is angry over us? Because उसका सिर्फ lower part is in the tropics, बाकी का part is in the temperate, and plus he does not have Himalayas to protect himself from the cold winds which will come from the polar region. We'll understand that in some lectures. So Trump कहता है कि global warming नहीं है, and after that he now says that there is a global warming, but he is not sure about the source, whether it is human beings or it is natural. Have less heating power. Why? Because first, they fall on larger surface area. And second, they cover or they pass through more atmospheric layers. It is longer distance, and therefore there is scattering, absorption, reflection, etc. Fine with this, so we'll continue tomorrow. Any doubts ab tak? If you can understand ये basic concepts, you can write an essay on the emerging technologies to fight a climate change. कैसे कुछ टेक्नोलॉजीज जो आपको पता है, कुछ टेक्नोलॉजीज जो आप एग्जाम में इन्वेंट करोगे. ओके, यू हैव टू बी दैट मच क्रिएटिव.